Japan's population is slowly dying out, and one of the ways that they plan to solve that problem is to ban marriage for women after the age 25. Also, they plan to propose a mandate of uterine removal for women at the age 30. One of the leaders of Japan's Conservative Party, of course, made this proposal, and it sparked a huge backlash across Japan. This idiot said that by proposing these preposterous mandates, that it would basically force women and scare them into having children earlier, thus solving the problem of Japan's declining birth rate. He also said that there should be restrictions on women's universities after the age 18, saying that young women should focus on bearing children. So it's not just America with men wanting to control women's bodies. It's Japan too. Wow. The reason why the birth rates in places like Korea, China, Japan, I even heard that America has declining birth rate as well, is for a reason. Women do not want to have children for a reason, okay? So let's focus on those reasons instead of practically forcing women to give birth.
Why is Japan's birth rate decline so dramatic?
I'm in my 40s now. Our fathers kind of built Japan Inc. So they were gone after we fell asleep, so we wouldn't see them at all. They had the kind of samurai Bushido spirit that we're fighting for the company, and that has slowly changed. I think that's our generation now is kind of a generation that kind of missed out on that relationship, maybe, is trying to make up for that.
People saw their parents overworked, sacrificing a lot to work and raise a family, but the new generation is rebelling against that.
It's a big economic investment that I think even Japanese people are more interested in maybe spending on themselves just a little bit more than back in the day.
Japan wants to encourage people to have babies, so they're giving money to new moms, but many experts say that it's a losing strategy. And to really fix this problem, it will need to allow more immigrants to come and also accelerate robots in the workplace.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, so guys, we recently did an episode where Japan was offering its women a good amount of money to encourage them to have kids.
Right, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about this politician in Japan who came up with a very crazy idea to make women, or rather, force women to give birth in Japan. And it is these ideas that made Japan go crazy, and it also made people on the internet go crazy.
Right, but guys, we don't want to talk a lot. Let's just dive into it and then we come back and talk about it. Consider subscribing if it's your first time here. Also, let us know your opinion on the comment section.
Right, and also let us know, is he approaching this situation in a right way, or is there a fundamental reason right now that women are not having kids that he is not seeing that specific point that should be talked about?
Right.
Before we give our opinions, let's watch and then we come back and talk about it.
You know how there's a declining birth rate in both America and Japan, right? Like, I'm sure both countries are stressed out about it because America's already like, oh my goodness, we're declining in birth rate. What do? We need to do something, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sure the government of Japan is probably doing the same thing. But what I'm laughing at is different tactics being used trying to solve the problem at hand. And the fact is neither of them are doing anything to really solve the issue. But America's like, oh my goodness, there's a decline in birth rate. We need to do something, yada, yada, yada. What do? We need more people, more workers. What are we gonna do? Like, I got it. We're gonna remove women's rights. Like, we're gonna force these women to have these babies whether they want it or not. We don't care who lives or dies. It is not funny, but like, Japan's probably like, word, we see you, we heard the idea, but we have something better. We're gonna make baby anime. We're gonna release them bitches back to back to back to back. We're gonna give these hoes so much baby fever. They're gonna think that it was themselves that decided to have a baby. Like, we're just releasing animes back to back with little kids as the main characters. We're gonna have these women gushing and blushing and fiending for a child. Because they did it. They really did that, bro. And you know, we could have came up with better solutions, but yeah. Okay, Japan.
Don't save the birth rate. Let the population fall. All over the media, you're hearing that the whole developed world is suffering from declining birth rates, and that the apocalypse and the end of the civilization is near. While not too long ago, they were complaining about overpopulation. Declining birth rates are a great thing. Here's why. There's already an oversaturated job market in almost every industry. There are way too many people with college degrees and just not enough jobs to fill them. That's why the youth unemployment is so high. And that's also why wages are so stagnant and inflation credentials are a thing, which is basically that you're going to need more and more credentials just to get the same kind of job. It's supply and demand. The more humans there are, the less value each person has. In fact, the Renaissance actually happened after the bubonic plague in Europe, where a quarter of their population died. And because labor was so scarce, nobles had no choice but to treat peasants better.
いきなりなんですけど、まず最初に、今おいくつなんですか？
今33です。
ご結婚とかはされてますか？
してないです。
日本での女性の一般的な結婚の年齢って何歳ぐらいですか
？28、9できたかな。
20後半から30前半。
多分地方によってあると思うんですけど、田舎だと普通にもう25までには結婚してる。ただ都会だと30代前半とかの印象です、私は。
なんかご両親からプレッシャーかけられたこととかってあります？
前はありましたけど、もう何も聞かれないですね。
どのくらい前まではあったんですか
？3年ぐらい前はあったんですけど、もう聞かれないですね。
割と親の方が結婚しないのみたいなことを言い始めるのも20代後半ぐらいから30とかにかけてなのかな。
社会人になったらそろそろいい男いないのとか。
早くないですか、社会人になって。
なんか言われますよ、私は。
何歳の時に言われたんですか、それ。
22、3とか。
This Japanese politician suggested to remove women's uteruses in order to increase birth rates. Yes, you heard that right. Japan has been dealing with a huge problem with decline in birth rates, and this man had some genius ideas on how to solve it. And his ideas were: forbid women to get married after the age of 25. Remove their uteruses after the age of 30. He pitched that this way women would be motivated to have kids early. And on top of that, he suggested to restrict women's access to education at the age of 18 so that they would focus on what matters the most: birthing babies. And Naoki Hyakuta is no random Japanese politician. He is the co-founder and leader of Conservative Party of Japan. So it's not just conservatives in the United States that have genius ideas on restricting women. It is happening all over the world. Follow for more.
So guys, welcome back. You know, to think that Japan offered its women, there are places where women are just giving birth for free. Like, they're just giving, look at Philippines, women are just giving birth, and poverty is also
Africa,
bad.
for example, people are giving birth anyway. Bill Gates has a plan for that, but that's a topic for another day.
So you guys, to think that even the incentive of being given good money is not making Japanese women have kids.
Because most of them are complaining that, the government will give you that amount of money, but when you go on to have like 3 kids and above, that money won't be enough to live in Japan and cater for your kids and give them a good life. Still, life will be expensive.
Right, at this point, it's beginning to look like the money is not even the problem. There's a big, deeper problem in Japan, and not just Japan, but everywhere else in the world where you're having this trend that is not being addressed. Because I feel like even the suggestion that this man had in itself is
problematic.
Exactly.
And I feel like this way of thinking of this man is exactly one of the many reasons women don't want to be tied down by babies to men.
Right. Guys, don't take this the wrong way. Let's just talk about this topic without feelings here, and let's be pragmatic about this whole situation. The solution in itself looks like it's gonna violate women's rights, because you tell me at the age of 25 right now, as the world has experienced shift, life is very, very expensive. And right now, personally, I would even say, if I speak for myself, I wouldn't want to have a child right now. Why? Because of the financial reasons. Having kids in this day, you have
very,
to
very
cater
expensive for those kids. Like, kids are not cheap. They are expensive, and it would be quite unfair of somebody to have a kid knowing full well you cannot cater for the full needs of that child.
Right. So this member of parliament offering that, suggesting that they need to take measures like banning university for women who will be reaching 18 years old,
so that they can focus on families.
All
if you want
antagonizing the women.
And if you want something by antagonizing the person you want that something from, it's not guaranteed that this person will give it to you, And then another thing he said, imagine like banning marriages for women when they reach 25 and then going on further to remove their wombs when they reach 30. I feel like this will only make situations worse, because now you'll make a whole generation of people who've not given birth barren. Where will the kids who you want, where will they come from? Because you know there are women who even give birth at 35 going on to 40.
And you know, let's talk about how frustrated the population is, because right now
it's not only women, even men don't want kids.
Exactly.
In Japan.
So let's reverse this. And it's not like we're trying to do some gender wars. You're just trying to think on a level platform, right?
Yeah, also to put men in women's shoes.
So what then can be done for the kind of men who do not want kids? Because we did an episode covering that, and right now there's a big percentage of men who are saying they're not ready to have kids.
And that's why also Japan is importing foreigners to have kids with their women.
So you tell me, if you suggest that this should be done to such kind of women, what is going to be done to those kind of men
that don't want kids?
Exactly. It's only fair. Somebody says they don't want a kid. They're a woman, they're a man, ranging from whatever age, not just a specific age group, you know.
Yeah, they're allowed to have those choices, because at the end of the day, when someone grows up, they themselves know the challenges they've grown up with. And sometimes they might deliberately choose to not have kids in that particular moment. It doesn't mean they won't ever have kids. It just means they're putting it off for a certain period of time so that they can attain what they lacked in their childhood.
But you know, the government want babies, and you can they don't just feel
babies. They want little slaves to work in the field.
They want little workers. So who in their right mind wants to? Because at the end of the day, when you give birth, even if you're gonna get some little money from the government, at the end of the day, you are the one who's going to be there to parent that child. You understand? You're the one who's going to have that burden or responsibility, however you look at it, to parent the baby you just birthed, right? So at the end of the day, who is benefiting from that situation? That is what Japan is being faced with, you know, who is benefiting. And this way you see people are going crazy, making some crazy laws, you know.
And I do understand later on, after he was after he was put under fire, this man came forward and he apologized.
He did?
Yeah, he apologized for the remarks that he made, and he said he was just trying to come up with a good fictional book. Who does that?
How people lie to your face?
Because imagine if this man is a political leader, a whole political leader of a political party, meaning he influences a certain demography of Japanese men who will think like him, you know. And if this is the way he generally thinks about women in Japan, you can imagine his immediate female family members.
And you know, now that you've mentioned that, I feel like such a person, when they bring forth the idea of, you know, discontinuing education for women at the age of 18, you know, you ask yourself, do you think such men with influential positions are going to do the same thing with their daughters? Of course, they're going to be given private tutorials, even if in public eye the daughter is not going to school.
Exactly. But she is most definitely getting some kind of education.
And most
he wouldn't want his daughter to be a rice-picking farmer, you know. So he would accord her the best education.
So guys, let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. As usual, we thank you so much for joining us. Let's catch you on the next episode. Consider subscribing if you have not.